Hey, it's Chris Beyer.
Chris Bowling. What's up, CB?
Hey, Steve. We got Jack Carra with us in focus this morning. Jack's one of our leaders in the risk management field for AP. Jack, go ahead and introduce yourself. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. It's very exciting to be part of the show here. So Jack Carra, I've been in the industry for about 18 years. As Chris mentioned, I focus on the property casualty risk management side. Usually work with large employers, complex risks, things with unique exposures, multinational, as well as some niche specific industries like manufacturing and senior living.
No, I know you've had a good career of, like you said, helping out some of that complex situations. So, I mean, when you talk about that, how did you get into working with the larger employers? Because, they have different risks than your small business, or even, some of the groups that we work with that have large employee count, but they're not a complex risk necessarily.
Yeah, great question, Chris. I think it comes from the fact that the larger employers are mainly value buyers, right? And, when you start looking at some of the smaller business, not that there's anything wrong with it, but there's not a lot of differentiators you can do. It's, a small business package is a small business package. And as a larger employer, there's a lot of different things you can do. There's so many different levers that you can pull to help really maximize your overall program and influence the direction you want to take it. So there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of gray. I'm not a black and white guy. I like a lot of gray, a lot of flexibility, right? And that's what it's all about with some of the large groups. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does.
Well, I think, Chris, it's similar to us too. I mean, if we get an employer that's open to self-funding because they have the ability to financially manage that, we're going to be more creative than if we're just looking at traditional health insurance itself. So, it's because Jack, you're probably not asking your clients to buy more insurance. You're finding other ways in some cases to mitigate risk and to make sure that company stays solvent. What are you seeing in the market right now that, would be something creative versus some of the challenges that you're running into now in that space?
Yeah, that's a great question. To your point, it is really not about trying to purchase more insurance. It's, insurance is one of the mechanisms to transfer the risk, right? So there's a lot of different things you can do to help manage it. Right now we're going through a hard market on the property casualty side, which has been an unprecedented 4 years of market conditions hardening up, which is crazy. We haven't seen anything like this since really 9/11. And there's a variety of different things that are going on that has caused it. It's really market correction is what it is, right? So, there's weather related items that are absolutely unpredictable. Us being based in Iowa, you could look at having more hailstorms here in Iowa, record breaking hailstorm this year than ever before as far as amounts. Social inflation, which a lot of people are talking about, which is basically kind of a fancy phrase for costs going up, right? Things don't cost the way that they used to. And quite frankly, medical costs, this from being in that side of the house, they're going up, and we're in a lot more of a litigious society. So, looking at more creative ways to transfer that risk to ensure it. We're looking at a lot of captives. We're looking at a lot of loss sensitive programs. And quite frankly, this is where industry specialists and niche-driven brokers really succeed, because if you really entrench yourself and understand, what the exposures are in the manufacturing industry, what the exposures are in the senior living industry, you can paint a much better picture to an underwriter than a pure generalist or somebody that focuses on a different industry.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Great point.
I know we've noticed that the specialty in the risk management property casualty side is probably much greater than what we see in benefits. We have different industries that we like to work with, but a lot of those challenges are similar, where you're talking through exposures that are unique only to that type of company that you can't know at all if you're focusing on every possible industry.
Yeah, you're spot on right. Each industry has a unique set of risks. And then when you get into some of the larger employers, it's a lot about transfer and, figuring out how to, really address some of the issues that they face on a global scale. So, there's a lot more flexibility in terms of examining risk versus reward in terms of how much we can take on internally as an organization, as opposed to transferring to insurance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's we knew the market's been hard. I mean, we've heard that from our fellow P&C producers within AP. We've heard it from our clients that are talking about that side of their business. But it's interesting you're seeing some opportunity to help. So if an employer calls you up and says, "Hey, Jack, can you come in and give me a quote on my property casualty?" What do you say to that? I mean, are you in the business of quoting insurance?
Absolutely not. So unfortunately, some folks have really commoditized our business, and I think honestly the days of quoting are done. And we're professionals on this call, and our job as consultants and brokers is really to sit along the same side of the table as our clients and help our prospects from a consulting perspective. It's quoting is really, again, part of one of those areas of the risk management process. It's insurance, right? Well,
yes,
that's a small piece of the whole puzzle, right? Sometimes insurance is really not the area you want to focus on. So that client might not be the right fit for us, or if quite honestly, they may not have had a conversation about what the universe really looks like from a risk management perspective, and how to effectively manage it and truly organize the program to suit their needs today.
Yeah, because to me, if your process is quoting, you could be paying 30% more than what you would have been paying if you'd actually sit down with a consultant and figure out what you should be quoting. And once again, how to tell that story correctly, how to build a program that maybe you're not buying as much insurance, or you're buying the same amount, but you're buying it in the correct way. So,
yeah, exactly. It really, when you quote insurance, you're really allowing the carrier to pick your broker. And that is the absolute worst thing you can possibly do, because some markets are hot at certain times and some are not. And larger shops have access to a lot of the same carriers. So you could be going with you could end up with a broker that has absolutely no expertise in a specific industry, but just because they have a hot market, and next thing you know, have a bunch of gaps within the program that don't benefit you until claim time. And so picking your consultants really what you need to do.
Agreed.
We knew how you would answer that, but it's just good to hear that too, because the industry has done a bad job of training companies to win price savings through quoting. And it's like you said, it's not the risk versus reward or really leveraging risk. It's just putting it in the hands of a specific quote at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Chris, I know you've got our famous last question coming up, but was there anything else that you had for Jack this morning before we hit him hard with the last one?
I have probably 30 minutes more that I could talk to Jack, but unfortunately we're limited to 10. So Jack, you've had that long day, that long week. Fire and I explained we've had a long month. Is there a quote? Is there a motto that pulls you out of that, or that just keeps you focused on the future?
Yeah, you bet. As a guy that has been raised by two Italian immigrants, I learned very quickly that work ethic is everything in this business and in this industry, right? And my dad taught me at a very young age that you don't need to be the biggest, strongest, fastest, or smartest person in the room to outwork everybody in that room. And
well said.
And quite honestly, those are words that I live by all day, every day. When times are tough, keep your head down and keep plowing.
Well, you've had an amazing career at LMC, now AssuredPartners. You and I were hired pretty close to about the same time with one another, and I've really enjoyed watching you just absolutely succeed. So that motto explains a lot.
That you live that, we can tell.
Yeah.
Is it the bags under my eyes? Is that what? No, I appreciate the kind word, guys, and I love what you're doing. You guys are a phenomenal duo. Any customer on the other side would be very lucky to hire you guys as consultants, because you truly care and you're doing some pretty unique things on the employee benefit side of the house. So very excited that
you, Jack.
You guys invited me onto this.
We are honored.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We know you're super busy, and thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with Byron and I.
Oh, my pleasure.
Absolutely.
It's great.
Thanks, Jack.
Great to see you guys. Take care.
We'll see you.
Yep.